What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the Bianconeri zone for Unplanned Live, or I wasn't planning to do that this one today, excuse me. But Chiellini spoke, and he had quite a few things to say. Actually, if you need to believe Chiellini, not just good times are ahead of the club, but amazing times. Fantastic times. Basically saying that as a fan, we don't really have not a clue. I shouldn't call it not having a clue, but we don't really have an idea of how bright our future is in the next couple of seasons. Because apparently the big part or the toughest part, we already quote unquote survived. Saying that even though there are many changes still happening in management, the big portion of that has been done, and the next couple of months is all about adjustments, etc. But he said if things went our way, or like go the way we expect them or they expect them to go, it will be a fantastic future for this club, believing in what they are building, what he is helping to build at this club, and believing that the direction we're going in right now is the good one, and not just a good one, the amazing one. So that's what we're going to talk about. Also a little bit about Fiorentina, because Kelly is back in group training, but Vlahovic is not, for example, and that might be an issue considering how important he is at this moment in time for Spalletti. Actually important, he is his main guy up front, so he's basically unreplaceable, if you can call it unreplaceable. Before we get into it, as always, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. It's probably not going to be a very long live, just talk about it, read the chat, and then we move on. But yeah, let's start immediately with the news of Chiellini. So Chiellini spoke at some sort of forum, I think it was, and the words were reported by Di Marzio and Gazzetta dello Sport. So the comments are coming directly from Di Marzio, etc. We need to start with the beginning, or actually the beginning. The beginning is actually 5-6 years ago. That is the beginning. But the beginning for him is when he actually took on the job to join Juve last season, and now take on a bigger role actually than he was initially thought he was gonna have at the club. A bit like Comoli when he came in as well. He didn't came in to become CEO. That is he became CEO in about when did he join? Was it May? So in about 3 months or so, it was decided that that Comoli will become the CEO. That was not initially planned, for him to become the CEO of this club. And that changed. So the same kind of happened with Chiellini, because he's now doing federation, or has federation roles away from the club, actually, not just representing the Juve, but just representing the league, the teams, etc. So his role has changed as well. However, he talked about the difficult moments. I will read it out. You can read it as well. Said that I've always slept well. It was kind of the question was a bit about Tudor, or actually it was about Tudor, but he sidetracked it as well a little bit. He said I've always slept well, though the regret of some decisions is part of responsibility. I'm part of these choices, shared choices, because I'm not the number one. Comoli is someone who shares but takes responsibility. Decisions require input from multiple people. The next few months will be difficult but motivating, basically. The last 3 years brought major changes. It's been hard, but there's light ahead. Many changes are underway, and a big light, a much bigger one than people, so the fans probably, can imagine without seeing the full picture. We're completing structural changes, which requires strength and effort, but I believe in it, and I see a train that is leaving, a train that will travel far, and bring Juve back to the normality of winning. Now we must give more, and that's what we're trying to do. We must stay clear-headed and understand the direction, even when fans' emotions, even when fans' emotions shift. So quite a lot of things to say. Some things we already knew, that Comoli is in charge. He is like besides Alcon, who is in charge, but like from day to day, he is the number one at the club right now, and that was not what we were told when he actually joined in May or whatever that was. That was not the news that we actually receive from the media or the journalists receive, whatever. But now he's in complete control. Commonly, he makes the decisions. He obviously, like Chiellini says, talks things over. Actually, Commonly admittedly said that he talks things over even with ex-players. But with Chiellini, Modesto, and whoever will become the sporting director at this point, which we'll talk about in a sec. So he is in complete charge, but he obviously talked it over. Now, when it comes to the coaching decision, I do think Chiellini had a big say in it to choose Spalletti. I don't think Comoli wakes up after or even before sacking Tudor and it's like, you know what, let's look at Spalletti as one of the main guys because of why? You know, why would he go for Spalletti? That I think that's more of a decision, you know, being backed by Chiellini, other than somebody else at this moment in time. However, the important thing is what he said afterwards, saying that the last 3 years, I would say the last 5 years, but okay, the last 3 years, major changes, but there's a light ahead of the tunnel, a much bigger one that we cannot see. And I need to be honest, I don't see it. If anyone sees the light at the end of the tunnel and you can tell me what is standing in that spotlight, you can throw it in the chat, because I think nobody sees it at this moment in time. You know, every time you think you can believe in something or actually see something that is like, okay, that is the change that these guys are talking about, or whatever. This is, you know, it started with Mota. You bring him in, even when you, a personal level, you maybe didn't like Thiago Motta when we announced him, or you were not certain of Thiago Motta. The point being is you started off a project with Thiago Motta, and very, very soon through in that process, it is soon, you know, it is soon. Still, despite results, it's soon. You throw him under the bus, and that was what happened with Giuntoli. He never came in front of the camera. And when he came, he made some dodgy comments where it was clear that he was shifting blame completely to Thiago Motta and etc. And I'm like, everyone who believed that that could be a new beginning in the summer when we announced Motta, they threw that away completely. Like completely, and start over again. And at that point, me personally, I don't believe in anything unless I see it. Like, it's impossible to believe in anything unless I see it, because right now he says there's light in the tunnel, but how can you say that when it was clear and obvious that last summer, or the past summer, excuse me, Tudor was not the main candidate to take on the job. He came out and he was so pissed that he said, if I don't get a new deal, I'm not going to the Club World Cup. He knew the situation. Tudor knew the situation. The leaks about Conte and Gasperini and Marco Silva, they were not fake. They were from really good sources, well documented. You know, that's not made up. Everybody knew that that was not your main guy. So my point being is, he sees the light at the tunnel. I just see more of a kind of a mess, you know, because you went on to start off a season with a coach you clearly had no belief in, and you ended up sacking him a couple of months in the season. Like, if we brought in a new coach, I will explain it. Let's say not Conte. Let's say, I don't know, they announced Marco Silva in the summer. Does anyone believe, if we had the start of the season Tudor had, and he was sacked, what was it? October, he was sacked, mid-October, that Marco Silva would have gotten sacked by these same guys if we had the similar start as we had up to the point Tudor got sacked? There was no chance that was going to happen. There was no chance, because that would have been their guy, and they would have been backing him and not pulling the trigger that early, believing in their choices. Maybe down the line, you know, in May or April, when it was really bad, they might decide to sack him. But they wouldn't have sacked their own guy in October. Impossible. They would have not done that. You know, that is my point. When he talks about there's a light at the end of the tunnel, for me, it must be a very blurry, light, because it's not clear. Like nothing is clear at this moment in time when it comes to the club, and the summer was that messy. It was that of a mess, in my opinion, when it came to coaching, that it's impossible to just go with the flow and accept that, yeah, um there is a light at the end of the tunnel, because I cannot see it, but if he can see it, fine, then show the fan base at this moment in time. But then he also went on saying that, that we need the train story, whatever, the point being is that whatever changes have taken place at this club at this moment in time, or the last couple of seasons, according to Chiellini, we, the people, the fan base, I think that's what he means, they don't see the big picture. They don't see it at this moment in time, and we just need to be, I don't know, patient, even more patient. He said a quote I will bring up in a second, which was even odder, when you hear him speak about it. Actually, this is the quote, so I'll read it out immediately. This is about Spalletti, a bit. Big part of it is about Spalletti. He said that wanting to, this is actually crazy. The more I read it, it's crazy. Wanting to win is not the same as needing to win, but it's already an important step. He's been saying that since day one. I will read out this first part, and then we'll talk about the rest. Wanting to win is not the same as needing to win. Okay, but it's already an important step. Like, it's great wordplay. I'm not gonna lie. Wanting to win, actually, it sounds good. Wanting to win is not the same as needing to win. That would be a banging quote, in my opinion, if you were at Genoa. They want to win, but they don't need to win. They just need to stay up. Yeah, win games, but he's not talking about winning games. He's talking about winning trophies. If you are Genoa or Cremonese or Lecce or Cagliari, it's not about, like, you want to win, but at the start of the season you're not going to win, and you don't need to win. If Cagliari finished 10, that would be a fantastic season. If they finish 12, that would be a fantastic season. Their fan base is not going crazy, or their ownership, if they don't win a trophy. They don't need to win a trophy. Genoa, they might want to, they dream about it, but the goal is not for them to win trophies, especially not with Como's goal is probably to win a trophy very soon because of the investments they're making. Genoa, Cagliari, Cremonese, Lecce, those teams are not doing that. So their goal is not to win a trophy. That's not the goal at the start of the season. It's just to stay up, So wanting to win for them, for those teams. For us, I don't think you can say that. We need to win. We need, actually, I'm disappointed that he said that coming from Chiellini. I'm not gonna lie. We need to win. When you're at Juve, you need to win. You want to win. You must win. Period. You must win on Saturday, on Tuesday. Obviously, you're not gonna win every game, but you need to win. And if you keep winning, you win a trophy. That's it. This quote, in my opinion, is crazy. But he said it's already an important step that apparently we want to win. I mean, that's crazy. That's a crazy quote. That means that half of this squad didn't want to win, or I don't know what he's trying to say, but that's crazy. Now, the other part is a bit stranger as well, saying if you look at the table, why not? If McKennie's header had gone in against Torino, we'd be in the Champions League zone. We're still in the Champions League zone right now, but I'm assuming literally being in it, I think. Everything is still open. We're aware of the difficulties, but also the opportunities. Everyone is struggling. No team is taking full command of the title race. It's all decided by details. I value balance in high and low moments. It helps guide the future. At the training center, emotions run high, but stepping away helps maintain balance. I agree with the part that nobody's running away with it at this moment in time, but there are squads who can run away with it. Inter have the squad to run away with it. Napoli have the coach to run away with it, pick themselves up and run away with it. Right now, nobody is running away with it. I agree, and Roma is in first place. Inter is there. Napoli has been struggling. Milan are hot and cold throughout 90 minutes. we're up there, and we're just up there at this moment in time. So yeah, nobody is Bologna are up there, so nobody's running away with it, and that's fair. Um, but even if McKennie scored that header, like we would have won a game. But post game, my fault. Like, let's say McKennie scored against Torino that header, we win the game 1-0. My reaction after the game, the day after, would not be we're in top four, fantastic. That would not be my reaction. My reaction would be, you know what? We won the game, and actually we are 3 points off the top, or whatever it would be. I think it would have been 3 points then off the top. That would be my reaction. Being in the Champions League zone, whatever Chiellini is saying, should be default. It should be default because you need to win. Going back to that first quote, yeah, you want to win, but at Juve, you need to win. So by default, you should be in that top four. It should not be a talking point, or it should not be coming out of the mouth of everyone at the club, saying, "Oh, we're still in the top four race," or it's still very close for a top four and whatever. I don't want to hear that. I don't want to, like, I'm done with that for the past 5 years, and for the next 50 years. I don't want to hear talking about we won a game. Oh my God, that means we're in top four, especially not mid-November or the start of November, because there's been a 2 international break. Nobody, like, another season like we had 2 years ago or last year, or the one with Allegri, or the one with Pirlo on the final match day. I mean, that has been the norm at this club right now, fighting until basically the last kick of the season to get into the top four. It's nothing to be proud about. There's nothing to be, happy about it. That's just my opinion. Now, going to Spalletti, he said he embraces everyone. He needs to show affection to everyone. There's a lady who works in the cafeteria. First thing he did was hug her. That's his empathy and humanity, regardless of someone's rank on the pitch. He's different, but he carries that empathy. I first met him in 24 during the national team tour, and then he asked if he wanted to talk about the defenders, etc. But that's what everyone's saying at the club. Or even Perin, like all these guys coming out saying that that's how he conducts himself. Etc. Now, going to the transfers, because I think that's the worry of a lot of people when it comes to Yildiz, for example. He was asked about the sporting director. He said, we're missing one final piece, the sporting director. Once that happens, we will be a structure with Comoli leading the sporting side, then myself, Modesto, and the sporting director making these decisions all together. Then he was asked about the Yildiz renewal. He said, everyone calm down. Because everyone wants the same thing. With balance and patience, everything gets done. On that Yildiz thing, stop listening to Romano's daily videos talking about Yildiz. He talks about Yildiz every day, and he says the same thing every day. He only tweaks it a little bit, and he actually says absolutely nothing. Everything Romano's saying on Yildiz is based on maybe that can happen. Maybe Yildiz can renew. Maybe he will not renew. Maybe he will join the Premier League. Maybe he will just not sign a deal and stay. Maybe he will go to Spain. Like, that's the type of news you're getting from Romano when it comes to Yildiz. All nothing. Like, it's empty. Like, I don't even talk about it anymore because there's no update on Yildiz. They're in talks for a contract, and that's it. And everybody watches those Romano video, and he's good at what he does with his job, and inside info or whatever, but he never gives an update on. He says, yeah, if he doesn't renew, he might be leaving, but the club wants 100 million. Cool. Like, yeah, everybody knows that, but the way he puts it, it gives the vibe of, oh my God, there are issues, it's falling apart, etc. It's way too soon to enter that stage, so that's why I'm not even entertaining all the comments he's making about Yildiz in the last couple of weeks. Inter has a squad to win. We will see about the coach. And Napoli has the coach. Their squad is still not that great. And even Milan has more experience coach winning wise. Do we have one of the two? Well, Spalletti has experience because he's won the league. Has he as much experience as Conte and Allegri in winning? No. Has he more experience than Kivu? Yeah, but Inter have the better squad because also that squad has won multiple things and have been together for the majority part of that squad has been together for many, many years. So it's much easier, I think, for them as a squad to get back to winning ways. Do we have the squad? No, but like you said, Napoli squad is not that great. It has many holes, injuries, and also some weird transfers they did. Same with us. That's what Chiellini was saying. Like right now, everyone is kind of not struggling, but I won't call it struggling, but nobody's really running away with it. And it doesn't feel like anyone is going to run away with it anytime soon. I think it will all depend on injuries, on Champions League, etc. If a team gets kicked out of the Champions League, and will only play one. Like Milan are playing one game a week, but if you watch Milan games, you can split it up in 45 minutes. 45 minutes, it's oh my god. And the other 45 minutes, it's like, what the hell just happened? They look like two different teams within 90 minutes. One team that can run away with the title, and one team that's going to fight for top four because they will do things that mess up games. So, yeah, I don't think there's a big difference at this moment in time. It's just nobody's doing anything really. Romano is BSing when it comes to Yildiz because he probably doesn't have inside info. There's no info. The info is they're in talks and that's it. And there's no agreement. Willing to unproven but decent potential prospects. Gabriela Mendoza, but we're lacking a leader. Yeah, we'll talk about that tomorrow in my daily video. But I agree. We need leaders in the midfield and at the back. It's all good to add talent, and that's fine, and we must do that, and potential and future, whatever. But this team is missing leaders and ready now players as well. I'm not saying 11, but in each position, at least one. At least one. Even if it's not to play 85% of the games of the season, 90 minutes or 75%, whatever. Not like even if it's 50% of the games, But we need some experience and leadership across the board, basically across the board. Also winning, people who have won stuff, people who know how to win and what it means to win. Okay, so that's that. Other update: Vlahovic not in training. I don't know if he's going to be ready for Roma. For Fiorentina, it seems extremely unlikely at this moment in time, but the way Spalletti talks about Vlahovic and the way he uses his Vlahovic as well, I think if there is a small chance that he can play that game on Saturday, he will start Vlahovic because it's very obvious right now that he is his main guy up front. Then you have Jonathan David. He will only be back tomorrow, so will he play? I don't know. A Panda. It's not really been used as that type of player. When he came in against Sporting, was on the left. Yes, against Torino he came on, right? Or no, it was against Sporting, and against Cremonese he played, but he had one training session. He just threw in Openda because he played the previous game as well. So that is also not a certainty. So that's kind of an issue for Spalletti. Going to Fiorentina, no excuses, but it's going to be interesting to see how he will cope with that. Then Cabal also not in training. Kelly is back in training, so that's good news, I'm assuming, even though not the biggest Kelly fan. But Koopmeiners has been playing well at center back, but I'm not expecting Koopmeiners to keep playing that. I don't envision a Spalletti team where he's going to keep Koopmeiners there and he's going to keep McKennie in midfield as well on a consistent basis. I don't see that. I think he knows that he needs to get Koopmeiners going in the midfield. Not with his back towards goal, behind the strikers, whatever. Not there, but what he's doing right now, making those runs and etc. But doing that from that midfield, so you can bring in Kelly and probably not play McKennie every single week. Not saying that he's not playing McKennie, but I think McKennie under Spalletti will score goals coming off the bench. I think he will score quite a few goals. I predicted 8 until the end of the season. Maybe that's too much, but that's how I see McKennie's role, actually having a good role in this team under Spalletti. Not as a starter. I don't see that. Inter seem like the clear favorite to me. They have the squad to play on all fronts, and Napoli And I don't. I'm gonna be very surprised if they don't win it. Milan is the unknown. Uh, yeah, I think Inter are the. No, I would still say Napoli are the favorites purely because they have the same squad. They strengthen the squad. They have Conte and they've won it last season. And Inter, yeah, they have a squad, but they have a very unexperienced coach. He only coached at Parma one season, and that's it. So if he wins it, it's not a miracle, but he's done a very extremely good job, and Conte has done a very poor job. Even though that transfer window from Napoli was so odd at the time, they were buying players and spending money, and people were praising Manna, and I was like, they're buying weird players. The moment Conte leaves, that squad is that the next coach is kind of screwed, because that squad is not built for the next coach, in my opinion. It's not built on pure individual quality that any coach will work with or is happy to work with. I don't and to win as well. Milan is the unknown because they're very hot and cold. They're very, I don't know, like up there. One day it's good, one day it's not good. So that is, and I agree, like a weird one at this moment in time. But when they play well, Inter and Milan, they really, really look well as well. Like they look like they can win it all this season, and all is the league, obviously, maybe the Coppa Italia. But then they go into the locker room, come back out of that locker room, and they look like they're gonna win absolutely nothing. So very odd situation when it comes to Milan. But they play once a week. They have a coach who can win, has proven to be a winner. So yeah, who knows? Who knows? I guess. But we will see. We will see on Saturday what's going to happen. It's going to be interesting to see how he's going to deal with that issue when it comes to Vlahovic, because it is an issue for Spalletti at this moment in time. That's that. No update. I just wanted to quickly talk about what Chiellini had to say, because it's quite significant. It's out there. We have it written. So if we don't see any light anytime soon, because nobody's going to wait another 3 years, I don't think he was suggesting that we needed to wait that long. But if there's no light at the end of the tunnel again, then, well, we will come back and circle back to this video and these quotes to say, yeah, you were lying, or you guys messed up and there was actually light, but for some reason you turned the lights off. I don't know how, but you managed to do that again. So yeah, that's it. I'm not gonna hold you people any longer. I will read out the last few comments. With Alcon in charge, every season is a new beginning. It feels like that. Fiorentina for relegation if we manage to win. Maybe. Let's hope. That would be amazing if they go down. Not gonna lie. Anyways, people, gonna wrap this one up. I may or may not be live tomorrow. It depends. Otherwise, the next live show will be. I have no idea. Probably Saturday for the preview, and then we will see when we'll talk again. But yeah, that's it for me. Have a good day or evening, depending on where you're watching, and stay safe as always. Ciao.